Channel Sports Central, we go over a college football bowl preview and prediction on the 2021 Frisco Bowl matchup between UTSA and San Diego State. Both teams have had excellent seasons to this point. UTSA is your Conference USA champion, and San Diego State is the runner-up of the Mountain West Conference. So it should make for a good matchup here in the Frisco Bowl. We'll be going over a full game preview and prediction on this matchup here today, starting out with your team trends. UTSA beat Western Kentucky 49-41 was the final score there. That was in the conference championship, and they're 12-1 heading into this matchup. So obviously that was a huge win there for the Road Runners, winning their conference as they should have. I mean, they were far beyond the best team in the Conference USA this season. I mean, Western Kentucky also had a good season, but really, I mean, there's no really other dominant team in the Conference USA. I mean, UAB's had a good season as well, but UTSA is definitely the best team in the conference. So, yeah, huge credit to them. They've had a great season. San Diego State lost to Utah State 13-46. Much different story in their conference championship. They got blown out to the Aggies there, 13-46. So, obviously, brutal loss there for the Aztecs, and they're 11-2 heading into this matchup. Still ranked in the college football playoff rankings at 24. So, that did kind of surprise me a bit, seeing San Diego State still ranked after their loss like that. I mean, I would have rather ranked UTSA, considering they just won their conference title over San Diego State. But either way, I mean, both teams are still pretty talented, and this is actually a very equally matched game here in the Frisco Bowl. I mean, both teams are very talented. Records are slightly different, but San Diego State has played a tougher schedule than UTSA. It'll be on Tuesday, December 21st, Frisco, Texas. And your kickoff time is 6:30 p.m. Central Time. Spread's going with UTSA here by 2.5 points. So Roadrunners are slightly favored in this matchup. Not too surprising seeing that, even though San Diego State is ranked and UTSA is not. But either way, it's going to be a close game. I mean, both teams have got a great opportunity to win this game here. I mean, it could go either way, and it's going to be a close game, I think, all the way down the stretch here. Over-under is going to be 49.5, and your FPI is going with UTSA by 60.8%. So UTSA is favored in this matchup with both the spread and the FPI. It's also the first matchup between these two teams in their program histories. Here's your stat comparison for this matchup. We got two very different football teams here. UTSA is mainly, I mean, they got a high-powered offense, that's for sure. And for San Diego State, it's completely different. Their defense is what's the most impressive part on their team. Offensively, they're only getting 26 points per game, so that's not very impressive. But points allowed at 19 is definitely an impressive stat there. But for UTSA, high-powered offense, 37 points per game, which is one of the better rates in the country for sure. For points allowed for UTSA, they got 23. So, I mean, even 23 is not a terrible number for points allowed per game. So I'm not too concerned about that. But definitely for San Diego State, I mean, offensively, it hasn't been the best season for them. But defensively, that's really where they've gotten it done. I mean, if you look at their rush yards allowed per game, 77. They've got a very stout rushing defense. So it's going to be tough for UTSA to run against them. But thankfully for UTSA, this is a passing offense that can get by just fine with, of course, you got Frank Harris, who's got nearly 3,000 pass yards on the season. He's had a great year for UTSA, definitely a major impact player in this game. And then, of course, for UTSA, 188 rush yards a game. But either way, I mean, they've got a great rushing core as well. I mean, if you look at the rushing part of this offense, you got McCormick there, who has had a great season, almost 1,500 yards of rushing alone with him. So he's also a very major impact player in this game. But for yards allowed, for UTSA, 252 passing, 111 for rushing. Moving on to some recent matchups, both teams have won 4 of their last 5. And both teams have got one bad loss down the stretch as well. I mean, UTSA beat Western Kentucky there 49-41. That was a huge win. Western Kentucky, the other good team in the Conference USA, and UTSA got the win in the end. Lost to North Texas there 23-45. Just a tough loss there. And, of course, UTSA was pretty injured in that game. Didn't have all of your starters in there. But, otherwise, I mean, they beat UAB 34-31. They're a pretty good team. Beat Southern Miss 27-17 and also beat UTEP 44-23. As for San Diego State, lost to Utah State 13-46. Still don't know what happened in that game. I mean, Utah State is a very good passing offense. So, and of course, you got San Diego State, which has got they got an okay pass defense. It's mainly the rush defense that has been so good for the Aztecs all season long. But yeah, so it's kind of a tough matchup there for the Aztecs. But otherwise, you beat Boise State 27-16, beat UNLV on the road 28-20, beat Nevada by 2, and also beat Hawaii by a touchdown on the road back on November 6th. Now for some key points here, UTSA 12-1, San Diego State 11-2, and something that I've mentioned all season long for UTSA. This team is incredibly overlooked, I think, by the College Football Playoff Committee, and it's been tough to watch. I mean, this is a very good football team. UTSA here And I think the committee is too focused on strength of schedule. I mean, if you look at UTSA and you look at this football team, their offensive stats especially, I mean, this team has got two extremely talented players with McCormick and Frank Harris. And, I mean, that's only two players. This team has got a tremendous amount of other very talented football players. And I just think all season long, I mean, San Diego State, don't get me wrong, they're also an excellent football team that really deserves some attention as well, and they've gotten some from the committee. But for UTSA, they've just been so overlooked. Every single college football playoff ranking that comes out, I mean, they've been either unranked. I mean, of course, after that North Texas loss, I mean, it was a no-brainer. They're going to keep them out. But, I mean, UTSA, there was a point in time where I actually had them, I think, at number 14 or number 13 in my rankings, and I think the committee had them at like 22 or 23, which was absurd to me. I mean, this is a football team that down the stretch has been, I mean, they've got a strong argument to be one of the best group of 5 teams in the country. So, and I mean, for UTSA, even though, once again, I mean, don't get me wrong, I understand San Diego State has got a tougher schedule. They've played some tougher opponents, but UTSA, if you look at this team and the talent that they've got, I mean, offensively, they're definitely one of the best group of 5 teams in the country. But, yeah, Frank Harris, nearly 3,000 passing yards on the season, definitely he's a key impact player in this game. And they did slip up in one game against North Texas, but otherwise been an outstanding season for UTSA. As for San Diego State, Mountain West runner-up, ranked 24th in the nation. They played a tougher schedule once again, but the defensive side of the ball is what's really the strength of this football team. And, I mean, offensively, they've been, I'm going to be honest, not very good. I mean, 26 points per game is not a very good stat line. And their quarterback, I mean, the quarterback situation here has been also another story. I mean, you got a great rushing core, but, I mean, otherwise it's kind of been a tough season here offensively for San Diego State. But defensively, that's where this team has excelled down the stretch. But that being said, let's go ahead and get to the prediction here. This was a tough one to predict, definitely the toughest bowl game to predict so far in this bowl season, and I've done about 10 previews already. But I'm going UTSA 27-24. I mean, you got San Diego State, who's got a very talented football team as well. I mean, you can't forget about them there. But the thing is about San Diego State, I mean, coming off of that Utah State loss, 46-13, a big question here is going to be, how will they respond to that loss to Utah State? Will this team come out on fire in this matchup, or will they be flat from the start? And UTSA, I think, is going to have a bit more motivation, if you ask me. I mean, this is a football team that's been overlooked all season by the College Football Playoff Committee, especially in November when the committee's rankings were coming out. So, I mean, UTSA, they got a tremendous amount of motivation here, and I think they're going to come on. And, I mean, honestly, San Diego State, once again, I do think the Aztecs, I'm a little more confident in picking them because, I mean, they have played a tougher schedule. But then again, UTSA, I think, offensively, they're by far the better team. And going up against the San Diego State defense is going to be a big question, seeing how because this is the best defense that UTSA has played all season here coming up against San Diego State. So we'll see how they respond, and should be a fun matchup here. I'm going to go 55% towards the Run Runners as well. So I do think we see a close game. Definitely could go either way. I mean, I would not be surprised one bit to see San Diego State get the win here, but over-under 49.5. I'm going to take the over just slightly, and UTSA to cover as well. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I appreciate you guys all watching as always. Stay tuned for more from All Sports Central. I'll see you later.